Good evening and welcome to this Friday night edition of Kaleidoscope. We're here with you every weeknight on CNBC Africa from 8:30 to 9 p.m. Coming up on the show tonight. Diamonds are a girl's best friend, but who guards the gems when James Bond is not around? We'll be finding out more about a pricey African jewelry collection and the logistics around keeping it safe. Staying with the expensive stuff, Cartier recently launched in South Africa, and we'll be finding out more about the brand's plans for the local market. And in the gadget box, we'll look at another external drive and offer you the chance to win. I'll also be chatting to the head of a new player in the local diamond market, which is promising glittering returns. Stay tuned. A few weeks ago, a company called African Romance launched in South Africa. Its aim? To set a new benchmark in the diamond industry. The companies were wholly black-owned, and I recently chatted to CEO Mohsin Vali-Musa to find out more. Mohsin, thank you very much for joining us. Judging by the response from the media of African Romance's launch, it's been well received by the South African market. But what about outside Africa?
Thank you, Mandla. It's nice to be on your program. We're testing a couple of markets. Obviously, we want to win the battle at home, and that's why we've done such a big launch at home. But we've been looking across at Europe, the US, and your traditional diamond-consuming countries. Because we believe that most of South Africa's raw materials, diamonds, gold and jewelry, have found its way into Europe and the US. And those are the markets that need to know that Africans can actually polish diamonds and make fantastic jewelry. And you know, that's the market that we're targeting. We do have some work being done in countries such as Nigeria and others, where the bigger economies are. Mainly through the United Nations World Food Programme, the Catwalk the World campaign, which the United Nations has launched. African Romance has become a sponsor of that campaign. And as you know, in Africa, that was launched in Nigeria. So we are making some inroads with that campaign into the Nigerian economy. But mainly we're looking at Europe, the Far East, and the US.
But Mohsin, what excites me more about African Romance is that, for one, finally, Africans are taking ownership of their own resources and minerals. But obviously, what has prevented us from doing this before, and what has it required in terms of skills and technology?
You know, Mandla, I don't know what would have prevented us before. Frankly speaking, I think that there's no reason why Africans should not have been doing this over the past 100 years. In fact, there's no reason why South Africa should not have had the world's largest value-added economy in jewelry and value-added products from our minerals. I just think that there may not have been a desire in the past for that to happen. Okay. Those who've been producing diamonds and gold and platinum have found it easy and comfortable to export these products to international markets. And I think that primarily that's the reason. It is true that some production centers in the world are cheaper. India and China are probably quite a bit cheaper in terms of polishing diamonds.
And labor, of course.
Which is the labor issue, really. But we've developed a business, and you know, one needs to be creative. We've developed a business model that addresses that question of cheap labor. We pay good, solid wages in terms of the South African wage and regulatory framework. But we've done a whole range of other things in our business model.
Yes, you have. For instance, sourcing your diamonds.
Yes.
You're sourcing them from a local mine.
We source them from our own mines out here in South Africa and from other mines in South Africa. And so we cut out a whole lot of middle people. And there are a whole lot of cost drivers that we managed to save by doing so, because everybody takes a margin. Okay. And those margins have all been cut out. The second thing we've done is that we've decided to put the completed polished diamonds directly into jewelry ourselves. So we're picking up the retail margin at the end on the jewelry. And even on the wholesale end, we're cheaper than most others, and we can supply jewelry at prices that are highly competitive because we've cut out all the middle people in the process. And then we're doing other things. We've created a 5-star facility where tourists, dignitaries, politicians, celebs, anybody who wants to see how diamonds are made can actually come right into our premises and view the thing. And that alone is a revenue driver and generator of its own. So one needs to be creative. And when you are creative, I think that you can crack the model.
True. And then what about your signature pieces? Obviously, you'll be launching them soon.
That's a big question. We've taken the approach of calling the business African Romance and building the brand African Romance because we wanted to have something that comes out of Africa, an experience, something that speaks of the African people, our culture, our traditions, the warm people we are, our climate, those kinds of things. So a lot of our jewelry is inspired by that.
In a press release following the launch of the company, Musa said there was no luxury African brand on the level of Cartier, and that's the space that African Romance is hoping to take up.